next week?
You know where I'm going to be.
Houston, that's right. So is Stephen A. We're all going to be in Houston. Catch us live next Wednesday through Friday. We can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. February 1st through 3rd. We're going to be at Lucky's Pub downtown. It's on Emmanuel Street. We're going to have a ton of special guests. Brandon Marshall, Rob Gronkowski, Terrell Suggs, many more. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. local time. The show starts at 9 a.m. local. So come on down. We want to see you all in Houston.
T.O. ruined the name. Terrell, right?
I know.
It was always Terrell, and then all of a sudden
T.O.'s Terrell. That's what threw me off.
Come on,
you got
T.O.
it. You knew where I was going. Speaking of being in Houston, Brady or Belichick, they're going to be there. Those options, good problems to have. Do your job is the Patriots' mantra, and the both are arguably the best at what they do. Here's a look at the Killer Bees and what they've accomplished as a tandem. Must be nice to be a Patriots fan, right? First in wins, playoff wins, championships, and Super Bowl appearances.
I can think of 2 times it wasn't nice to be
Yeah, me too. Go Giants. So they pretty much run the league. Max, but the question is, if you could only have one, who are you going, Brady or Belichick?
Sometimes I'm just glad that the world doesn't seem to catch up to the truth, because this is a nice paying job. I tell you what, it beats working for a living, and because people miss things that are so obvious, you just get to say it and sound smart, I guess. I don't know, it's like sabermetrics in baseball. That was easy. No one wanted to adopt it, but that's the way it was. Okay. The answer is so clearly Bill Belichick. And let me say, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever. Some of that has to do with Belichick, too. And he makes Belichick's job a lot easier, no doubt. But who instills the culture? Who schemes for, like, does Brady play defense? Does Brady kick field goals or otherwise coach special teams? Why is it that the Patriots seem to dominate usually in at least 2 of the 3 phases of the game, if not all 3? Was that Brady too? The defense and special teams is Brady too? Why is it that they go 11-5 with Matt Castle? Do they do better with Brady? Of course. Brady's better than Matt Castle. Brady's better than just about anyone who ever lived. But why do they go 11-5 with Matt Castle? Why did they go 3-1 this year with Garoppolo and a 3rd stringer? And by the way, the 3rd stringer was the only one to lose a single game. Why? Because of Bill Belichick. He is the greatest coach probably in the history of sports when you consider what it means to dominate at this level for this long in a parity NFL league. But it's more than just that. Bill Belichick's also the GM. That means he is deciding who to draft, he's deciding who to sign, who to let go, what to pay them all, and then they have to get coached up, they have to be developed. Guess who that is? Bill Belichick. They're both the beneficiaries of each other, Belichick and Brady. But Brady has benefited more from Belichick than vice versa. It is clearly Bill Belichick.
I don't like having this debate because I don't like casting any aspersions on Bill Belichick the way a lot of people do. I think he's the greatest coach of the modern-day era. I think he's absolutely phenomenal, and I agree with all your points about what it's about culture. But I disagree with your ultimate conclusion because it's about Tom Brady. The New England Patriots are 182 and 52. 183, I'm sorry, and 52 with Tom Brady as a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. 7 Super Bowl appearances, 4 Super Bowl titles. Bill Belichick had titles as a defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, we'll lean back to Cleveland. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to do that to the man. What I would tell you is this. The very thing you give him credit for, Max, in terms of the culture, and you are right, he's responsible for building and cultivating the culture, but it's not possible if you don't have Tom Brady. You can't get guys to come and play for less. You can't get guys to make the requisite sacrifices. You can't make guys to buy all in without having that dude. This is one of the things, and you know who proves my point better than anybody, Max?
Who's that?
Greg Popovich, who you just praised a few days ago. Greg Popovich will be the first to tell you none of what he has done would have been possible had it not been for Tim Duncan. It wasn't just because Tim Duncan is some great player, meaning the greatest power forward to have ever played basketball. It's also because Tim Duncan allowed Popovich to coach him. He didn't big-time him. He didn't cachet him. He didn't flex his muscle or anything like that. This dude came to work. Popovich could look at him. He could stare him down. He could be demanding of him. He could hold him accountable. He could do all those things. I'll tell you a funny story, Max Kellerman. True story. Popovich got in trouble for this. Do you remember that time when they played a nationally televised game in Miami against LeBron D. Wade and the crew? And Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Park, if I remember correctly, they all sat out for the game.
They didn't travel. Did they even travel?
No. They had a road game prior to the game in Miami. And Popovich sent them home, right?
Right.
Do you know how that story broke? You know how that story broke,
No.
Max? They were in Orlando Airport about to fly on Southwest Airlines, and people were like, they're at Chick-fil-A. Is that them? Is that Tim Duncan? They couldn't believe it. You know, that's how the story broke. They were in the airport in Orlando, I think it was, and they literally, it was at some Chick-fil-A or something, about to fly on Southwest Airlines, and everybody spotted like, what the hell's going on? So not only did they not have to travel, they had to get on Southwest with no chartered jet or anything like that. No, just go. You think Jordan or somebody like that would have been on Southwest Airlines?
No.
But it's Tim Duncan. Why? Because that's who he is. And as a result, Popovich was allowed to be Popovich. And because of that is how the culture ultimately was cultivated. If you're Brady in New England, the fact that even though you're a superstar, it is clear where the chain of command lies. It is clear that Bill Belichick is the boss. It is clear that this is the man that runs the show, and you are all in to the point where you're that close. It's that culture.
What we're both describing is a symbiotic relationship. We agree on this. They help each other, coach and player. And I'm glad you brought up Popovich and Duncan, because that is the closest approximation. That's the best analogy in another sport. Analogous relationship is Popovich and Duncan. It's symbiotic. The coach instills the culture, everything, but couldn't do it to the level, couldn't achieve to the level he achieved without that player. We even see it now with the Spurs. Without Tim Duncan, they're excellent. We're really not talking about them winning a championship this year. With Tim Duncan, you gave him a shot every year. Tom Brady elevates Bill Belichick. There's no denying it. Matt Castle went at 11-5, didn't make the playoffs. Belichick did very well with Bledsoe also. Not as well as with Brady, because Brady is better than those guys and helps. He's his lieutenant, as is Tim Duncan, the lieutenant, in the locker room and on the court. And the great head coach needs that. But if you had to choose one or another to make your franchise consistently great year in and year out, and I think this applies more to football than in basketball, where talent can sometimes overcome mediocre coaching, let's say, I would take Belichick, I would make him the head coach, and I would know that my team would be in contention every single year, in the playoffs every single year, whether or not they actually won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you could do the same thing with Brady on a bad team.
Here's the issue. What you're missing, in my opinion, is that even though what you're saying is definitely plausible and makes sense, it's what do you have beforehand. You're basing everything that, in all your support for Bill Belichick, you're basing it on his accomplishments. I'm saying the accomplishments emanates from Brady. And because it emanates from Brady is why you have to sit up there and look at Brady. Because without Brady, we wouldn't be able to say what we've said about Bill Belichick. There's no denying that all of our points are right. And there have been times in the past where I've sat up there and said, Belichick all day, all day, all day. But as I've watched Tom Brady get older and older and still consistently keep doing what he's doing and defying all types of odds, I've had to step back and concede this brother is just on another level. And when I look at it from that perspective, I have to sit there and say, hey, it just is what it is. Bill Belichick could not have been Bill Belichick without the likes of Tom Brady.
Sure.
I have to concede that.
You put Aaron Rodgers on the Patriots, they're favored to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, we don't have time for this one.
You put Matt Ryan on the Patriots, they're favored to win the Super Bowl. You can put a number of quarterbacks on the Patriots, they'd still be favored to win the Super Bowl. But if Brady went to another team, that team wouldn't be favored to win the Super Bowl. It's Belichick.
No, Molly, the point that Max is missing is that, again, even though that may very well be true, you can say that now because of what Brady has done.
He had Bledsoe.
Hold on, Max. I'll let you finish. My point is, you could say that about Belichick now because of what has happened.
Right.
Would Matt Ryan or anybody else have been able to do what Brady has done with Belichick all these years leading up to this point?
It wouldn't be as much.
That's the question.
It would be less.
We can do a whole
Brady
show
would have
on
been
this.
even more less
we
without
have to go to
Belichick.
break. It's not called a coaches-driven league. It's called a quarterback-driven league. This is First Take, but for Antonio Brown, it's Take 2. The Steelers receiver jumps on Facebook Live for the first time since the infamous video in the Steelers locker room. Don't miss what he had to say and whether his days in the Steel City are numbered. And Roger Goodell says it would be an honor to hand the Super Bowl trophy to the man he suspended for 4 games this season. Do the guys believe him? Our good friend Damian Woody certainly isn't buying it.
There's nothing you can tell me to, like, justify you going to Atlanta back to
He
that
didn't
week.
want to get booed. I'm okay with that. I don't think it has anything to do
You're
with
the
whether he
commissioner.
wants
You scared? You scared to face the crowd?